Welcome to the Motormouth YouTube channel. I'm Zach.
I'm Andrea.
And we do full-length car reviews each and every week. And partway through, we stop for questions, coffee, and cars. And we've spun it off into its own standalone segment. We're absolutely thrilled to be at number 47. And how do you get a question in?
Well, follow along on Instagram at Motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning at 7 a.m. Pacific time, I put a post up. It's only up for a short time. We gather all our questions and the post is deleted.
Time now for questions, coffee, and cars.
Your questions from Instagram.
Love your show. So insightful. Thank you. I drive a 2016 VW Jetta for almost 8 years now. Zero problems, but with a toddler looking to upgrade and get into a bigger car. Confused between gas hybrid or pure EV. Already booked a RAV4 XSE last year, but now considering going to a full EV with a Tesla Model Y. We work from home and daily commute on most days is only limited to daycare pickup and drops. Weekends a bit more fun. Please advise. Is it worth spending the extra amount on an EV or go for a hybrid? Or the newer Model Y's better?
All right, listen, you're kind of overbuying for vehicles.
Yeah.
You could just keep driving the old Jetta. I mean, if you got a kid and you're working from home and
Jettas are a good size.
and you're barely driving to pick up and drop off at daycare, it's like you're spending a whole lot of money on something. Do you really need that?
I know.
I mean, I don't know what you do, but we're in a sort of an economy crisis right now. I don't know. I mean, to have a Tesla to drive to daycare seems like overbuying to me.
Yeah, I mean, a hybrid might be a better option. It really comes down to budget. That's really
How
it.
much money you got?
If, for example, you said you've booked a RAV4 XSE, it's priced well. It's going to be less than the Tesla. But then at the same time, you only do short distances, so you would never get, I was gonna say you'd never get gas. Hello.
Well, you would, but here's
it's an electric vehicle, so no, you wouldn't go to the pumps, but you'd always stay within that daily range. Tesla offers a lot of range.
All right, so with the electric car, not just the Tesla, but any electric car, you could precondition the car.
Of course.
So you could have it nice and warm.
Yeah.
You walk outside, you unplug it, you get in it, the seats are warm, the car is warm, then you drive that short distance to get the kid or drop the kid off. I mean, there were some bonuses with a gas engine like a hybrid. You're having to warm it up and start it up, and you're not really letting it warm up that much. So,
but you're still getting great fuel economy with a hybrid. So,
yeah,
I still go back to the original thing I said. It all depends on budget. How much do you want to spend? If you're on a tighter budget, go for the hybrid. If you have more money to spend and you really want to get into an electric vehicle and you have the charging infrastructure in place, hey.
Well, the other thing about a Model Y is, and even though you're not driving it much, you're kind of future-proofing it.
Yeah.
You're going to have an electric car for many years. Because you're not driving it much.
I don't
know.
Zach,
I mean, if you've got the budget, it's also a bit of a vanity play, right? I can understand this. You're like, get a new car. I mean, you've got an old Jetta for a long time.
Yeah.
Get something shiny and new and keep it for a long time.
So I was standing at a stoplight waiting to cross.
Walking.
I was walking, and I don't know, it was about a minute long. You know how many Teslas drove by me?
Let me guess, 12?
9.
9
drove by me here in Vancouver.
Do you know what they do in Vancouver?
Unbelievable.
Do you know what they do? When they get into underground parking lots, they breed. And then they have the puppies. Yeah. And then there's more Teslas.
Look, Tesla's done it right. Some people don't like the brand. Some people don't like the interior of Tesla models.
Some people don't like the owner.
Some don't like the owner. But it's a good EV.
Yeah, it's a good EV. And the other thing is that you can get them, where a lot of these other ones, you're waiting for them. And not the case in the United States. They're starting to stack up in the United States. Just read a report speaking about that. Big difference between Canada and the U.S. There's no pent-up demand for EVs in the U.S. You can get them quite readily. There is still pent-up demand in Canada. Big difference between Canada and the United States. Taxes. We pay way more for fuel in Canada than you do in the U.S. So people are like, time to get a new car. I'm going to get something more fuel efficient because I'm killing myself at the pump every week.
So true. Hello, guys. My only question is, by any chance, will GM let you review their SUVs in the future? So we have reviewed many GM models, but these newer ones, no, we haven't. And it really comes down to the press fleet here in Vancouver. If we're not invited on a drive event elsewhere,
Well, we have been, Andrea.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I
Yeah.
said if we haven't been or we're not able to make it, then we have to wait for the vehicle to come here. For example, the Chevrolet Blazer.
Yeah, so we are invited to go and drive the Blazer.
Yeah.
Not next week, the week after, and we already have a commitment. We can't go because we're already booked for another program.
We are.
So we can't be two places at once. So that's why we have to wait now for the Blazer to show up.
But we recently did the Chevrolet Trax. We did the Buick Envista. So they do trickle into the press fleet. Some of the Chevrolet and Buick are pretty good with that. I have a 23 Audi Q5. On your reviews, you sometimes show the reliability rankings, and Audi is always near the bottom. Is the Q5 a car I should move on from when the warranty runs out?
Well, you got to remember when we show that JD Power dependability study, that's the entire brand after 3 years of all of their vehicles.
That's right.
The one thing about the Q5 is it has been in place for many years. It is their best-selling vehicle. They have, I would hope by now, because it's getting into its last year, perfected how they make them. So that would be one I would actually feel pretty good about. But Audi's score is reflected from a lot of the advanced technology they have in their screens, and advanced technology cars like their EVs might bring their score down.
JD Power gives the Q5 a reliability score of 76 out of 100, but Consumer Reports 67 out of 100. So there are obviously some issues. Of course, there is a broad spectrum that they go through. It's not just about powertrain. It could be technology. It could be people just not satisfied with the technology or the experience generally. But yeah, Audi definitely doesn't have the best reliability numbers. How about get an extended warranty on it if you're worried about that kind of stuff?
Well, he's got, I think, a 23, so you've got some time. You got a 4-year warranty, and then when it gets towards the end of the warranty, you could extend it. Or if you've leased a car, just get another one. We had an Audi for 4 years, and it was fine.
No issues at all. Greetings from East Hampton, New York.
Nice.
Love your coverage. Thank you. Thank you for being our auto advocates. Question: when did you become car people, gearheads? Was there a special car or time you recall when you just clicked into the auto enthusiast role? Well, Zach's always been a big
I've been
fan
crazy
of
about cars ever since I was a
little.
kid. Ever since I was a kid, I could name every model, every year, and we'd test each other with our friends because in the old days, and the back tail light, the first two numbers, or I was at the first two or the last two, I'm trying to remember, they actually put the year of the car. So you would say, oh, that's a 73 Cutlass, and then you would look and it would say 73 on the back, and you could tell because of the way it looked. And in those days, they changed the cars year to year.
Yeah.
Not every 4
Sure.
or 5 years. So I've been obsessed with cars ever since I was a little kid. All I ever wanted to do was drive. Our neighbors at the farm, we had a farm, they had a Ryder tractor mower, and all I wanted to do was drive it, and they wouldn't let me.
I like cars too. I was always a big fan of Mustangs. I thought that they were pretty cool. The minute I could get my license, I was the first of all of my friends to get a license.
But hanging out with me, it rubbed off, I
For
think.
sure. I was more on the news side. We both were in broadcasting. I'm a newsie. You know, I like to know the latest news. So is Zach, for that matter. Car industry is pretty fun.
It never ends.
And it's fast paced. It's always changing. And I've really grown to love it. And of course, learning to drive a manual transmission a few years ago has been really exciting.
But the interesting...
I don't know. It's a great industry to be a part of.
Well, it's interesting because before Andrea came on full-time to do the videos here on the channel, I was doing all this stuff on my own, and I was hosting TV shows and radio shows and everything by myself. And I would talk to Andrea about cars, and I would say, frustrating thing about it, perceptions of cars. And the interesting thing is our neighbors would ask Andrea, hey, I'm getting a new car. What do you think?
Yeah.
And Andrea would give the advice, and then I would say, well, what did you say? And then she'd say, I said, da-da-da-da-da, and I would go, that's really good.
Wow, he's like, wow, you know your stuff.
Yeah, so I think it's sort of, it's a bit back and forth. It kind of rubbed off on all the stuff I knew and learned and passed it on to Andrea.
Now our kids, I tried. Every time
brutal.
I took them out on a walk, I pointed to cars, I pointed to badges. I mean, they should know these. They should know them. They should be quick. It was like a quiz.
You know what?
No, they're not interested in cars. They don't want anything to do with cars. They're not passionate about them. Sometimes we get a vehicle and they say, "Oh, what are you driving out there? What is that?" And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself,
how do you not know? You know, interesting is like they're both good-looking boys. I mean, we can say that. They're both tall, good-looking, young, energetic.
They both look like me.
They're both smart.
Just kidding.
They're both smart. Sometimes they're smart. They're not smart when it's time to clean up their dishes. But anyway, they're smart. And I think, wow, we've already built this whole channel. We have a business. You could come in and take it over, and then we could sail off into the sunset and just collect the checks.
Yeah. How about it?
And you know what? Do you know how much interest they have in that?
No.
0.
I mean, we really tried. We really, really tried.
But you can't teach somebody about cars if they're not interested.
You have
if
to
they're
be
not interested
about
if
it.
you're not interested in it, and the number one thing I tell young people who are getting into this is you have to know the history of the cars. You have to know the history, or else you can't compare it to what happened before.
And you want to know the history. You want to dig deep in things, and they just don't want to. Hello, guys. Awesome videos. Woke up early so that I didn't miss this post. Well done. Need to consider a 3-row unibody SUV with 2nd-row bench seat. Currently considering the 2023 Pilot, 2024 Atlas, CX-90 gas, Grand Highlander gas. Factors to consider: overall reliability, 3rd row should be usable, quiet cabin, driving pleasure. Which one would you suggest? So let's break this down. Let's go through first overall reliability.
Well, I think, Toyota's going to take that just because they have a history of building excellent products. Now, we're in the first year of the Grand Highlander. It's a brand I have a lot of trust in. So
yeah.
I would say it would go to the Toyota for that. And, I would say that considering size, the Atlas, the Grand Highlander are pretty much the same size.
They're very close.
And you're going to have similar space in the 3rd row. And that is, those are the kings when it comes to overall space.
Now, the thing about the Atlas, it is a 7-passenger vehicle. That 3rd row only fits 2 passengers. So the Grand Highlander is an 8-passenger vehicle, which I think is quite nice for people who are moving a lot of people. Reliability, Atlas, not the best reliability. No. CX-90 is new, but it is a terrific vehicle, and you've got a few options there for powertrains. You are going for the gas. 3rd row usable, Atlas and Grand Highlander for adults. The others, I would say,
kids
more
or
for
mother-in-laws.
kids. Although,
or mother-in-laws could go back there.
Or mother-in-laws, right? The Pilot's pretty good, too. I would say that that's pretty good in the 3rd row. Quiet cabin, what would you give it to?
I would say quiet cabin. I'd probably go Grand Highlander, especially the hybrid models. And probably the Pilot was good. The Pilot was very good. Pilot's a bit of a dark horse in this whole category, Andrea, as it does a lot of things really well. It's big enough that everyone's going to be fairly comfortable.
Yeah.
And it's got a V6, and it's kind of a dark horse. It does a lot of things just well.
It does. Driving pleasure, for me, Grand Highlander Hybrid Max. Fantastic blend of performance and fuel economy. And then I would give it to the CX-90. However, it may not be for everyone because the suspension is a little bit firmer and the steering is fairly heavy in this model. So you have to make sure you like that. I like it for its engaging drive, but I don't the transmission
the transmission.
that much.
I mean, sure, you can have handling all you want, but if you're always waiting for the power to come on, it's laggy. Yeah. I don't know. I would hit pause on the CX-90 for a year.
I like it. I like the CX-90. I think that they've done a good job. Zach, not as much of a fan, but I don't like that transmission, so I hope that they can do some sort of a software update with that. Hi there, what are your thoughts on the new Golf R GTI designs? Personally, not a fan. Love my last gen 19R. Is it true that Mercedes will be discontinuing the A35 hatch sedans in North America? Yes, they are discontinuing that.
The A-Class didn't take off as they had hoped.
No.
Especially with the A-Class, you had you had the hatchback, and you also had the GLA, which is essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
One is a crossover and one's not.
And what happened to sedans?
Well, the sedan and the hatchback. And the other thing is, like, if you look at the A35, I don't know, it's just a car that never ever was embraced.
And I think with the introduction, as you said, of the GLA and an SUV, that's what people are That's
want.
what they want. They are driven towards SUVs, and that's what sells. So I'm not surprised about that. Looks of the GTI and Golf R.
We love the GTI. We've got one on order. I hear it's been made. We had contact with the dealer. Dealer says, yes, it has been produced. Now it's somewhere between Wolfsburg, Germany, and Vancouver, BC. Has it made it to Canada yet? We're not sure.
I don't know. It's been a long wait.
I hope the ship doesn't go to the bottom of the sea because we've been waiting.
Oh my God, don't say that.
Because
Do
it
not
has
say
happened.
that. You're going to jinx it.
No.
Why would you say that?
No, because it's not going to happen. I mean,
no.
there's only been what? How many?
I think as you said it, it's not going to happen now.
There have been ships that have gone to the bottom of the sea full of Porsches.
Mercedes-Benz
And Mercedes,
too.
yes.
Golf R and GTI, you know what?
Good.
I don't think that they are the best looking vehicles, but look, we're ordering one because we really wanted a vehicle with a manual transmission. They're super fun to drive, but I think that there are some better looking styles for vehicles. Zach has always.
Love it. Listen, I had a GTI back in the day. My first car was a weird car. It was a Buick. But my first car that I drove like every day was a Rabbit.
Yeah.
I've had a Volkswagen Rabbit. Then I had a GTI. Now we're getting another GTI. I've owned so many Volkswagens through the years. So I love the brand. I love the shape. Andrea, once you get this car,
I always like the
with
Rabbit, kind of that boxy look. This is more streamlined.
Once
now,
you
which
get
is
it
fine.
and you drive it and you use it in your day-to-day life, you're going to go, oh, it's so practical. I can park it anywhere. Oh, it's fast. It sounds good. It goes pop, pop, pop.
It doesn't matter. It's the fact that it's a manual. I'll just forget about everything else because I'm driving a manual.
I can get you an 08 Tacoma pickup. But I could get that back.
No,
that was a manual.
The Tacoma is so uncomfortable. The new one is so much better. I don't know how people own the old one. We owned it. I sat in it. I said to Zach, this is the most uncomfortable vehicle. How do you drive this?
Because I'm enamored that it's a Tacoma. That's the thing.
Is that really why? Like, come on, be honest. You must have sat in it and gone, oh,
I got used to it. Listen, you got to remember, I came out of a Volkswagen Vanagon.
I didn't drive that. I didn't have anything to do with that.
And I went from now speaking of Volkswagen, I went out of a Volkswagen Vanagon into a Tacoma that had air conditioning, so that was a huge deal for me. And the old Volkswagen van had all those windows, and on a hot day, it was like you're in a hot house, man.
Oh, man.
It was so hot.
Poor Zach. Greetings from Calgary.
If it couldn't have been that bad, Andrea. I had it for 13 years.
He did. You liked it. I'm the one who said you've got to get rid of it. When the muffler was starting to fall off, I said, Zach, everybody can hear you coming. You have.
I got the muffler fixed. Listen,
eventually.
But the thing is, Andrea just didn't like it because she thought it was like a little too down market in front of the house, didn't you? Come on, say it.
No, I didn't.
Yeah,
but
it was a little too frumpy.
It was a little rough around the edges. Let's just
like
put it
me,
that
Andrea.
way.
Me and my car are the same.
Love your show. Thank you. I'm ready to buy a new GLC 300 to replace my 2018 C300. Question is, should I wait and order a 2014 or get a 2023 from the lot with $1,000 to $1,500 discount? My logic says that this is better to order the 2024. It will take about 3 months since we'll have 1 year less depreciation.
Well, listen, there's no difference between them. One's a 23, one's a 24. If you can shave a little money off. You're right, though. Once the calendar clicks into the new year, it is depreciated a little bit.
We're almost there.
But it depends how long you keep it. It all evens out. If you're keeping it 7-8 years, it's all going to even out. So save the money up front and get the 23.
And then the other thing is, it sounds like you can get a 2023 model now. If you need the vehicle now, you can get it. If you can wait, I mean, it's really a personal choice. I'd probably get, I would do it, Zach, 2023, save a few bucks.
You wait till the last week of December and you walk in there and you go, geez, you still got some 23s here.
I know. There you go.
You go, I don't know. It's going to be a year old in a week. You might want to sharpen your pencil on that 15 Hun and then see what they say.
Who knows? They might.
And they want to make their end of year bonus. Then you get the free toaster and the microwave oven.
And there's no change. It's just a rollover. Do we have time for one more, Zach?
One more, Andrea, because we've gone down memory lane with all the old cars we've had.
I know. Love your posts. I never miss an episode. Thank you. Have you heard anything more regarding the 2024 Lincoln Nautilus? The initial reviews look incredible, but I've not seen any more information posted. When do you anticipate getting a test drive? Keep up the great work, and thank you in advance for your time. So the Nautilus is supposed to come next year, 2024, early 2024.
Well, the Nautilus is the one that people forget about, right?
Yeah.
Because they have a 3-row utility in the Aviator, and then the Nautilus is there. It's like, this is a kind of an oddball one, so we'll have to wait until we get a chance to drive it. But people who, I tell you what, there's a hardcore Lincoln fan base out there on the YouTube comment section. Every time we do a video, they're like, what about
Where's
the Lincoln?
the Corsair?
Where's the Lincoln?
I like the Corsair as well, and this Nautilus looks very stately. I agree with you. The design is excellent, so we look forward to driving it, but it won't be until
Andrea?
next year if we do.
It's no GTI. I'll tell you that. It ain't that pretty.
No GTI.
All right.
And palmetto yellow.
All right.
The color is exciting, though, isn't it?
Absolutely. All right, let's figure out one more time, how do you get a question in?
Follow along on Instagram at motormouth_Andrea. Every Sunday morning, I put a post out at 7 a.m. Pacific time. It's only up for a short time. Once we gather our questions, the post is deleted and we start the show. Thanks for watching.
Gotta finish this.